When you give your attention away too easily, you slowly teach people that your presence is guaranteed, not valued. Attention is not just time, it is emotional energy, focus, care, and effort. Every time you respond instantly, explain yourself repeatedly, forgive without change, or show up when you are not appreciated, you lower the perceived value of what you bring, not because you are not valuable, but because value is often measured by how limited something is. When your attention becomes unlimited, it becomes invisible. People stop earning it and start expecting it. Taking your power back begins with restraint. It begins when you pause before reacting, when you choose silence instead of instant replies, when you stop filling every gap with reassurance. This pause is not manipulation, it is self-respect. It shows that your life is full, your time is important, and your energy is not available to anyone who treats it casually. The moment your attention is no longer predictable, it becomes noticeable. People feel the absence before they understand the reason, and absence has a way of awakening awareness that presence never could. Overinvesting often comes from fear, the fear of being forgotten, replaced, or left behind. But chasing connection never creates security, it creates imbalance. When one person is always giving and the other is always receiving, desire fades and respect weakens. Pulling back restores balance. It sends a silent message that says your time must be earned, not assumed, and when someone realizes they no longer have automatic access to you, they begin to reflect on how they treated what they once took for granted. Giving less does not mean caring less. It means caring wisely. It means choosing where your energy goes and protecting it from being drained by uncertainty and inconsistency. When you stop chasing validation, you stop placing your worth in someone else's hands. You begin to operate from abundance rather than need. That shift alone changes how people respond to you, because people can feel when your attention comes from choice instead of desperation. The truth is, people value what they have to work for. Effort creates attachment. When your attention is no longer freely available, it creates space for effort to rise. And in that space, respect grows, curiosity builds, and desire naturally follows. Because what is rare is always more appreciated than what is constantly available true self. Worth is not something you announce. It is something people feel the moment you walk into a room. It lives in your posture, your tone, your patience, and your boundaries. When you know who you are, you stop trying to be understood by everyone, and you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Words lose their urgency when confidence takes their place. You no longer argue to be right or speak just to be heard, because your presence already communicates certainty. When self-worth is strong, reactions become measured instead of emotional. You don't rush to defend yourself against every doubt or accusation, because you trust your character more than other people's opinions. Silence becomes a tool, not a weakness. It shows control, maturity, and inner security. People often mistake loud explanations for strength, but real strength is being calm in moments where you could easily react. That calmness unsettles insecurity in others because it reflects something they have not mastered within themselves. Explaining yourself repeatedly often comes from seeking approval, but approval seeking drains authority. The more you justify your actions, the more you invite others to judge them. Self-worth closes that door. It allows you to make decisions without seeking validation and to stand by them without apology. When people realize that your confidence does not depend on their agreement, they begin to respect you differently. Respect grows not from persuasion, but from consistency in who you are. Boundaries are another language of self-worth, and they speak louder than emotional pleas ever could. When you say no without guilt, when you walk away without drama, When you refuse to tolerate mixed signals or half effort, you send a message that your standards are not negotiable. People may test those boundaries at first, but over time, they either rise to meet them or remove themselves. Either outcome protects your peace and reinforces your value. The most powerful thing about self-worth is that it changes how you are treated without you having to demand anything. When you stop chasing understanding, people start seeking your attention. When you stop proving your value, people begin to recognize it. Confidence is quiet, but it fills every space it enters. It requires no defense, no announcement, no approval, because it stands firmly on the belief that you are enough exactly as you are. When you create distance, you are not pushing someone away. You are creating space for truth to surface. Constant closeness can hide reality because effort becomes unnecessary and intentions remain untested. When you step back, you remove the comfort of guaranteed access, and in that absence, people reveal who they truly are. Those who value you feel the shift immediately, not as a threat, but as a reminder of what matters. Those who are only present out of convenience begin to drift, and that separation provides clarity you could never gain while overgiving. Distance removes emotional noise. It allows you to observe actions instead of being distracted by promises, excuses, or temporary affection. Words can be crafted, but effort cannot be faked for long. When you stop initiating every conversation, planning every meeting, and carrying every emotional load, you see who steps forward and who stays silent. That silence is not emptiness, it is information. It tells you whether someone is invested in you or simply enjoying the benefits of your availability. Creating space also restores your perspective. When you are too close, you often minimize red flags and justify behavior that does not align with your values. Distance sharpens awareness. You begin to notice patterns instead of isolated moments, consistency instead of intensity. You recognize whether someone misses you as a person or merely misses how you made them feel. That distinction changes everything because one is connection and the other is dependency. True intentions are always revealed under pressure, and distance creates that pressure naturally. It asks a quiet question without confrontation. How much effort are you willing to make when I am no longer doing all the work? Some will answer with action, consistency, and respect. Others will answer with excuses or indifference. Both answers are valuable because they remove confusion and replace it with truth that cannot be argued away. Peace has a presence that people can feel before a single word is spoken. When you are calm, grounded, and emotionally secure, you radiate a sense of stability that naturally draws others in. Desperation, on the other hand, creates pressure. It shows up in overthinking, overtexting, and constantly seeking reassurance. While desperation asks for attention, peace invites it. People feel safer around someone who is not frantic, not reactive, and not dependent on their validation for happiness. Emotional independence is deeply attractive because it signals strength. When your mood does not rise and fall based on someone else's behavior, you demonstrate control over your inner world. That control is rare. It shows that you have built a life, an identity, and a sense of fulfillment that exists beyond one person. Instead of clinging, you are choosing. Instead of needing, you are allowing. This shift changes the energy of every interaction because people can sense when they are wanted, not required. Peace also creates mystery. When you stop explaining every feeling and stop reacting to every situation, people begin to wonder what you are thinking. Mystery fuels curiosity, and curiosity keeps attention alive. Silence paired with confidence is far more compelling than emotional outbursts or constant availability. It suggests depth, self-awareness, and maturity. People lean in toward what they cannot easily predict or control. When you choose peace, you stop competing for attention and start commanding respect. You no longer chase consistency, you expect it. You no longer beg for effort, you notice who gives it freely. This calm standard forces others to either elevate their behavior or feel the distance between where they are and where you stand. Peace does not demand anything, yet it quietly sets the bar for how you are treated. Choosing yourself is the most radical decision you can make when you are used to putting everyone else first. It means you stop abandoning your needs to keep someone comfortable and stop shrinking your expectations to avoid being disappointed. When you begin to prioritize your growth, your healing, and your standards, you send a clear message that your life is no longer centered around waiting for someone else to show up. That shift alone changes how people perceive you because self-respect is visible even when it is unspoken. As you choose yourself, your standards naturally rise. You become less tolerant of inconsistency, mixed signals, and half-effort connections. What once felt acceptable now feels draining. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You start recognizing that access to you is a privilege, not a right. With higher standards comes a smaller circle, but a stronger one. The people who remain are those who respect your time, your boundaries, and your emotional well-being. When you invest in yourself, you stop seeking fulfillment externally. Your confidence grows from within, not from someone else's approval or attention. You begin to attract people who are whole, not those looking for someone to complete them. This internal shift transforms your relationships because they are built on mutual choice rather than emotional dependency. You give because you want to, not because you are afraid of losing someone. Choosing yourself also means trusting that what is meant for you will meet you at your level. You stop chasing connections that require you to lower your worth. Instead, you focus on becoming the version of yourself that naturally draws aligned opportunities and people. The right individuals do not feel threatened by your growth. They are inspired by it and motivated to rise alongside you.